building a project than white folk. Deadlines get pushed back all the time. Do you feel like the criticism of the delays and the request for more money were unfair, unreasonable?
Oh, not at all. In fact, we've never asked for more money than we originally thought we would have needed when we first began fundraising during the spring of 2014, when our original sites were on the St. Paul's College, the HBCU in Lawrenceville, Virginia, that had closed down, unfortunately, and again, unfortunately, was subsequently sold to the Chinese. That's where we really wanted to be, but we needed to raise $2 million relatively quickly. We were not able to do that, and with the selling of St. Paul's, we had then decided that we should just focus on getting a regular school that we could operate for our young men and eventually for our young women. But we have never given up on our dream of having a residential campus. I graduated from a residential high school. I understand the benefits of that. So that is still in our long-term goals. But for right now, we just want to get a school, get it open, because we recognize the war against Black boys. We understand that special education is a weapon of mass destruction, and ADHD, psychiatric medication, is a weapon of mass destruction. The American public school curriculum itself is a weapon of mass destruction. So we're just looking at a regular day school now, but we still want to go residential. As far as the moving goalposts, whenever you build an institution of this magnitude, timelines will change. And when I look back over the 24 months that we've had this campus, things have come up that I wasn't expected to learn. For example, today, in having a conversation with our HVAC technician, I learned that it can take anywhere from 2 to 3 months for them to customize and make the replacement HVAC unit that has to go on the roof of the Honorable Marcus Garvey Elementary School. I had no idea that it could take up to 3 months to produce an HVAC unit for an elementary school. But I learned that today. So again, things come up all the time. I didn't know it would take us almost a year to track down the original designs. So things come up all the time. I am an educator. I'm an academic. I'm a doctor of clinical psychology. I'm a Pan-Africanist. I am not a construction expert. I am new to this. Although I've been principal and vice principal, I've never had the privilege to be responsible for the construction or renovation of a building. So I'm learning as we all do. But what's most important, Dr. Hill, is that we get the school done. That's what's most important, whether it's this year or next year or the year after that. I'm very happy with where we are, because we started with nothing 6 months ago, and we now have 2 schools and 2 gyms. And once the school has been fully renovated, we will probably be the largest independent Black school campus in this country.
Why do you think you get this level of scrutiny and criticism around fundraising, around money, around, there were even allegations that there was no school. People made it sound like it was a Ponzi scheme. I mean, you literally had to pull out your camera to show people that there was a building. I know that wasn't necessarily your purpose for showing people the building, but there are a lot of people who didn't even believe it existed. Even with the degrees, all the stuff that people have said about you and done, why do you think you get this level of scrutiny?
I think my gift is also my curse. I am very reachable. I'm very approachable. Most traditionally trained scholars, they keep a distance between themselves and the regular people on the ground. I don't do that. I'm very much in the streets. I'm very much in the neighborhood. I'm very approachable. People have my phone number. They have my email address. I respond to Instagram inbox messages and Facebook inbox messages. I'm very approachable, and I think that's responsible for my success as well. But again, the gift is the curse. And because I'm so approachable, because I am so real, so honest, so transparent, it does give people who don't have a positive agenda the opportunity to try to misrepresent who I am, what I'm working for, and what I stand for.
Cool. I want you to stay right here. I got a lot more questions for you, everybody. We got a lot more with Dr. Umar when we come back. Stay with us with Black News Tonight returns.
TrueTrade, the world's first instant automated trading software engineered.
Is creating a sector dedicated to slandering and criticizing Black women who don't emulate Eurocentric standards of beauty and success. Unfortunately, many sisters have become prey for these coons due to an unconscious need for male validation. Black women, you don't need a man to validate your worth. Many people took that as a shot at Kevin Samuels, the online advice giver, relationship expert. He, of course, responded in a video directly addressed to you. What were you trying to communicate with this? I don't want to assume that you were talking about him, although he certainly took it that way. One, were you talking about him? And two, what were you trying to communicate there?
Yes, sir. My comments were not particularly directed to that gentleman. And in fact, he had made some slanderous comments towards me in a video that he had put together a couple of weeks ago. I saw that video, but I did not respond to it. I make it a point, when at all possible, to not respond to individuals whose intellectual competence I consider to be far below my own. But the message that I put out with regard to the quote that you just read speaks to a growing trend amongst the African American male community, Dr. Hill, that seeks to blame Black women for many of the trials, tribulations, failures of Black males. And I don't think it's right. It almost reminds me of what I saw in the early Black radical feminist movement, where I saw a lot of sisters making Black men the scapegoat for problems that white supremacy had deliberately engineered in the Black community. And now it seems like things have come full circle, where we have a movement now known as the manosphere that wants to make the Black woman the scapegoat and make her the blame for all things going wrong in the Black community. My message is simple. The Black woman is not at fault. The Black man is not at fault. There are some things that each group needs to do better, but we need each other. The Black family is under attack, and we need to save the Black family. It's not about scapegoating the women. It's not about scapegoating the men. It's about recognizing that the American white power structure wants to destroy the Black family. And that's why you see so much attention being paid to the Black woman, or so much attention being paid to the Black man or the Black child. But rarely do you see enough attention paid to the Black family. And the reason you don't see a lot of attention paid to the Black family is, if you want to save the family, you automatically have to save the Black man, which means you have to do something about mass incarceration, miseducation, psychiatric medication, psychological frustration. Suicide, for example, Dr. Hill, is the second leading cause of death for Black males 1 to 19. And it is the third leading cause of death for Black males 20 to 44. But that's not being discussed. So they would rather focus on either gender or the child as opposed to the family unit. Because if you focus on the family unit, you have to save all Black people.
So let's talk about that, because one of the places that you and I have disagreed, not necessarily directly but indirectly, is around this issue, right? One of the things that you've said is that we are blaming the Black woman, but then there have been times, and maybe your position on this has changed, but over the last 10 years where you've talked about sort of Black mothers and how they have engaged their sons in ways that have made them not become the kind of men you want them to be, or we want them to be, ways that make them become gay, or how people are turning gay, that there's a certain way that that can be understood as a kind of blame on Black women. How do you jive this very real concern? And I agree with you that we shouldn't be stereotyping or stigmatizing or blaming Black women for the effects of patriarchy, misogyny, white supremacy, all that stuff, with this idea of saying that if Black women don't maneuver or move in a certain way, that they're actually harming the Black family or not allowing men to be produced in the way we want them to be.